Whether it's to have access to your Chocolatey packages without relying on an internet connection, or just to guarantee that the package installer files themselves remain available and secure, it's worth internalizing your Chocolatey packages and storing them in a private repository with ProGet. Hi, I'm Ty from Inedo, and today I'm going to run through a demo of internalizing your Chocolatey packages in a private ProGet repository. Today's demo is going to cover the following: downloading OSS Chocolatey packages via a ProGet feed connected to chocolatey.org, uploading installation files to an asset directory to host them internally, extracting and modifying files within Chocolatey packages to point to your internally hosted files, and uploading your modified Chocolatey packages to a privatized feed in ProGet. Chocolatey is a really useful OSS package manager, and essentially it's a tool that's going to let you automate the installation of software across hundreds of Windows machines at once. This automation, it can also be used to update and manage this software on every machine in an instant. It's super useful when you're setting up a bunch of computers which all need the exact same software installed, and it can all be done from the command line, since Chocolatey packages, they're just PowerShell scripts. So imagine you've got a large company that's scaling, and Chocolatey is super useful in these scenarios, since it's going to be the case that you need to set up many machines all with an identical OS and suite of software. That's usually a time-consuming process that's prone to human error. That's all going to drive up cost, but using Chocolatey, it can make it really easy, massively reducing the complexity. You're no longer going to need to install everything individually. It's just a smooth, automatic process that's repeatable and going to give you consistent results with the correct versions installed every time. But Chocolatey, it still relies on installer files to work, and these files, they're downloaded when you install Chocolatey packages, and they're stored on external sites, for example the Oracle website. It means that you're relying on external networks which can fail, URLs which might change or be pointed to incorrectly, and it's going to cause your mass software installations to break, or worse, the files are removed or become unavailable, and that's going to leave you without anything to download, and the installation, it just can't proceed. That's a super bad situation to be in when you're on a time crunch and trying to set up hundreds of machines at once in your organization. The alternative, that's installing everything manually, and that's probably not going to be feasible considering the number of machines in your organization. Not to mention, if the installer files are changed without your knowledge, which could be the case when they're hosted on an external website maintained by someone outside of your organization, you don't have control over them, and it's introducing the risk of vulnerabilities being introduced in those files. So either way, these problems, they're going to need remediation, which is unnecessary, and it's a time and money sink. Instead, you could internalize your Chocolatey packages, which is actually recommended by Chocolatey themselves. This can be done by downloading the installer files and all remote resources and hosting them in a private repository. This means that you're not going to need to rely on the internet, which can go down, and hosting installer files locally, it just reduces risk from downloading executables online, such as malware or server issues. And of course, you can then reliably repeat the process using automation to swiftly set up potentially hundreds of machines securely. So let's go ahead and jump into our demonstration. And yeah, this demo, it requires a couple of prerequisites to be set up first. In this case, I need to have any external resources, right here my installer files, already downloaded, and I also need to have Chocolatey installed and PowerShell running as an admin. So in this demo, I'm going to show you how to do everything from the ProGet side from scratch. This means that I have no feeds created yet, no downloaded packages, no assets, there's nothing. So first we're going to start by creating a new feed, and that's going to be a Chocolatey feed. And when I create this feed, we're going to connect it to chocolatey.org so we can proxy our Chocolatey packages. And yeah, for now, I'm going to create this public Chocolatey feed so that we can proxy and download our Chocolatey packages, and then we'll internalize them in another privatized feed later. I should quickly mention that for the other package types, you can use ProGet to create two feeds, a public one admin has access to, then an approved feed for validated packages which devs have access to. It's a powerful functionality, but I'm just going to stick with our singular public Chocolatey feed for this demo. So now our feed is created, what's the next step? Well, I need to download my Chocolatey package, and for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to look at Java Runtime 8 or JRE 8. And here it is, Java Runtime 8, and I'm going to download the latest version of the package. So for this demonstration, we're going to internalize the Java Runtime 8 package, since this is used a lot in development environments. And now it's on my PC. Yeah, so the package is downloaded. We already have our installer files downloaded, so now I'm going to need to create an asset directory to store these resources. You might want to have a privatized feed for your Chocolatey assets versus your other assets that you might have within your organization. So here, let's create a Chocolatey asset directory. And yeah, right now the directory is empty, and I'm going to upload the installation files that I downloaded earlier. It's worth mentioning, while that's working to internalize our files, we need these installation files on our ProGet server, so that's why we're uploading them to the asset directory. So we've made an asset directory, and we'll use this for all our Chocolatey related files. And now that they're uploaded, we can select them like so, and this is going to let us see the URL of the file in our ProGet instance. So what I'm going to do is copy these URLs and paste them into my notepad. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to need these files in just a moment when we edit our Chocolatey package. So yeah, now I'm going to find the Java Runtime 8 package I downloaded in my files. Chocolatey files, they have the new package file extension, but they're essentially archives of files. So what I'll do is rename this package file as a zip so that I can extract the files locally for editing. So yeah, now I'm going to extract everything to here. So our files are extracted, and none of these files are really important except for the installer files in the tools folder and the new spec file. So if I open the installation file, you can see that there are two URLs that point to installation files that are located externally online. What we're going to do is change these to point to the two installation files that we uploaded to our asset directory earlier. Now, when installing the Java Runtime 8 package from our ProGet feed, any external files, they're going to be sourced from our internal asset directory instead of online. The JRE 8 package, it's going to be able to be installed offline without connection or bandwidth to the official source. So I'll copy and paste the URLs of the files into our asset directory and replace each URL. And yeah, now we're going to save these modified installer files. And now that this is done, what we're going to do is repackage these and then upload them to ProGet. And in cases like these, it's good practice to update the name of your package to reflect that it's been internalized. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now that that's done, I'm just going to use the chocopack command in PowerShell to build the package. And now we have our package, we can upload it. But yeah, first we're going to need to create another feed in ProGet, which will be to store our internalized package. But this time, it's not going to connect to chocolatey.org. There's no connectors. It's for private packages only. And so now I'm going to upload the package. And yeah, now that this internalized package has been uploaded, it can be used to install Java Runtime 8 from completely within our ProGet instance. But there's still one more step that we need to take to completely internalize this process. To download our internalized Chocolatey packages from ProGet, we're going to need to add our ProGet feed as a source in Chocolatey. So here I've got my CLI open, and I can list my current Chocolatey sources like this. And what I'm going to do is remove chocolatey.org as a source like so. Yeah, and now all that's left to do is add our internalized Chocolatey feed as a source, so we're only downloading packages from our internalized Chocolatey feed. So yeah, it's done. Now we have successfully internalized the Java runtime package. It means that we can download the package without the need to connect to any external networks, download any external resources. To recap, what does that mean for us? Well, since the files are internalized now, there's no risk of them being malicious, vulnerable, edited in a way that introduces breaking changes. When performing mass installations with Chocolatey, we know the process is going to be reliable and that all of our machines are going to be set up and running correctly. We don't need to worry about installer files going missing, being unavailable, or pointing to the incorrect URL when we download them. So we're going to be able to avoid all the time-wasting security risks, remediation costs, and broken builds that come with using public resources. And this reassurance comes from the fact that we've internalized our Chocolatey packages and stored them in a private ProGet repository. So yeah, that's it for today, and I really hope that this demo was helpful in showing how ProGet can be used to make your Chocolatey installs more reliable and more secure.